Could you, could you talk a bit about the Unholy 13?
Yeah, right. Um, well, the, we were on the math team basically in science high school. I should say there was you talk about interscholastic sports competition. This is interscholastic math competition, and the I would say there were about I think there were about 12 different schools. This is at the let's see, this would be at the high school level. 12 different schools in the metropolitan area who were in this interscholastic math league. And I would say the outstanding ones were Bronx Science, which is where I attended, and Stuyvesant High School, and I think Brooklyn Tech was also maybe in that top group, and the others really weren't competing. And here's the way that worked. We used to have someone would devise mathematical questions, and each school, the schools met. We met with Stuyvesant High School, and we were lined up 5 in a row, one behind the other. That's the team. Each side had teams. You looked at the questions simultaneously, and there was a time limit. So you could now start now. You see, you did not have to demonstrate your answer. You could do by any means you want coming up with the answer, and you were graded on whether the answer was correct or incorrect. And that means that if you could find some sort of shortcut, you would do that. I mean, you're not allowed to look at anybody else's paper, of course, needless to say, but there was a monitor from the opposite team sitting maybe just behind everybody in that row, and you had a time limit of maybe 5 minutes or so, and then the bell rang, and then the monitor ran down the aisle snatching papers out of people's hands, and they tallied up which of the answers were correct and which were not correct. And there was one I mean, the questions were devised by one particular person. I never met him or her, and it was kind of routine questions. Maybe there were racing questions. If two people start at 2 different starting points, and one behind races faster than the other, at what point will they catch up, and how much time has elapsed? You have clock problems, like what time between 3 and 4 p.m. are the two hands coinciding on a clock? And the one I like, I designed what I call the Faden method. I don't know if anybody else used that terminology, but it's interesting. Let's say you have some kind of general pentagon, and not a pentagon, but a 5-pointed star, in the shape of the outside pentagon. And the answer was, what is the sum of the 5 angles? And from the way the question it was framed, it indicated that the shape of the pentagon was irregular. In other words, there's an implicit assumption that it doesn't matter what pentagon you use, you're going to get the same answer, that the sum of the 5 exterior angles is going to be the same. And so what I did is, let's try the 5-pointed star, for which this is the simplest possible. Let's just compress it. And when you compress it, 4 of the angles become 0, and the last one becomes 180 degrees. So that has to be the answer, 180 degrees. So, I mean, I'm not proud of that particularly. And in fact, I think I really didn't understand what it meant to prove something at that time. I think it took me till my 20s till I began seeing the concept of mathematical proof as something that is worthwhile doing. So, okay, so that brings us to the Unholy 13. The Unholy 13 consists of subset of the people on the various math teams. And I mean, 12 of the 13 were like that. The 13th was the brother of one of these guys. And let me see. I'm trying to think. I mean, the odd thing is there was complete separation between the people who were interested in math and the people who were interested in physics, say. I mean, you would think that there'd be some kind of overlap, but so far as I knew, there was no overlap. And what happened is, at the end of every season, they figured out who of all of these competitors did the best. And they had some sort of award, you know, in high school, and you're supposed to step up to the stage and take a bow and so forth and so on. So, you know, I won it, I think, once, at least once. And unfortunately, was kind of shy, and I had an upset stomach that day, so I never did appear on the stage. But I did win it. So, I mean, my name was well known to people. And I've known a couple of physicists. I should say, I don't know of any outstanding mathematicians from Bronx Science who came in that year. Stuyvesant High School, which came in second in the league, was quite different. That's where, what's his name,
Paul Cohen?
Paul Cohen, that's right, he was there. And I think he was there, and of course he became one of the most notable mathematicians in the world later on. But at that time, he was just an ordinary student. He was studying Titchmarsh, as I recall, with a book on analysis, which I thought was kind of silly. You know, why waste your time on that? But that's what he was doing.
Oh, during one of the contests, you saw him doing that?
Yeah, I mean, we had a little conversation, and he mentioned he was studying that, so he obviously was taking it much more seriously than I was. I would describe myself as intellectually lazy, to tell you the truth. In fact, when I graduated, I said, gee, you know, I really know enough math to suit me and permanently, so I asked for, the prize was a math book. I could have asked for Birkhoff and McLean's book on algebra, but I didn't. I asked for a chess book. And when I should mention, when I went to college, there was a compulsory math course of a year, which everybody had to take, so I enrolled in it. And I looked at the textbook, and I said to myself, I know all this stuff. I had taught myself calculus at the age of 12 or 12 and a half, something like that, at least the rudiments of it. So I said, I went to the teacher and I said, I seem to know this stuff, why don't you let me take the intern? So he did, and I got 100% on it. And so I was promoted to the second half of that requirement, and I had the same reaction. I know this stuff too. How about giving me the intern again? So they did, and I aced that also. So the fact is, I took no math whatsoever in college, and thinking that I had enough, very erroneously, by the way, thinking that I knew enough. And it was only when I got to graduate school that I began seriously taking other math courses, like courses in higher statistics, stuff like the mathematical statistics.
Sure.
So I'm not too proud of that. And so you could ask, what were the Unholy 13 doing? Basically, we were playing bridge. So I hate to say that. I mean, I'm thinking about Benjamin Franklin organized a group of people getting together and talking about intellectually deep subjects. What is correct ethics? How should government be organized? What to do about science? and here we were playing bridge. So
Well, there are worse things
What
than
can you
playing bridge.
yeah, that's right.
Could have done worse.
Yeah, that's pretty pathetic.
Oh,